I'm back again with another video. Today, I'm going to be talking about the book Love Mom. Love Mom by Iliana Xander. I guess it's Xander, not Xander. I don't know. Xander is what I'm saying. And there's this little tagline up here that says, best-selling author, a mother, a murderer. Okay? So this book is in the suspense, thriller, mystery genre. And I read this one a while back, but it stuck with me and I have notes. So basically what the book is about, this is a book of, there's so many books now I'm seeing with this trope or with this type of premise or person, whatever, and it's like where the main character is an author, or it's a book about an author, like either writing a book or they died and a book came out with some stuff in it. It's really interesting that trope is growing so fast and being used by so many people. And I, for one, I'm a fan of like the story in a story. So like if it's a story about an author writing a story and we're getting to read what they were writing, I always think those are kind of cool. But sometimes I feel like it's overused, and I don't know if, like, why. I don't know if it's because the expertise. I sat in on this live like a couple of weeks ago, and it was with these editors at this publishing house, and they were saying that when you write books and you use a profession in that book, that you better know what you're talking about, because people who are in that profession, when they read it, they'll know. So I'm wondering if that's like a comfort level for some authors because they know about writing. Oh, I'm going to make my main character a writer. But I just hope we don't start seeing that too much, or it doesn't become overused. But anyway, back to the book. So in this particular story, this famous author, she dies at the beginning of the story. Like and all this is from the blurb. At the beginning of the story, like we're at her funeral, right? And the thing that's crazy is that you just get from, like, she has a daughter and her husband. So those are the only like family she has, really. And neither one of them seem too broken up, the husband seems like, okay, this is an inconvenience, and he's just very like whatever. I think the daughter is sad, but more so that she didn't get to I think have a better relationship with her mother before she died. But then here's the kicker. At the funeral, or maybe it was after, she gets a letter, like it's in an envelope, and it appears to be from her mother who has died. And it's like this cryptic message, okay? And the first thing you start thinking, as a reader, at least I did, I was like, okay, so did she know she was going to die, or that maybe somebody was, after her, or did she take her life? Like, why and how, are these letters seemingly coming from the grave? If she's dead, how can she be writing letters to her daughter? Like, what is this about? And then we also learn a chapter or two in that her mother died under suspicious circumstances. So it's not like a thing where, oh, she died in her sleep, or it was a tragic accident. I think they were trying to rule it as an accident, but it's starting to look more and more like there's foul play. So another letter comes, and then there's this man at, that the daughter, remember, sent the funeral, that her dad, was talking to, and they kind of engaged in a heated conversation. And she's like, who is that? Like, because she's in her 20s. I think she's like college age, and she's never seen the man before. So she's just starting to realize, okay, with these cryptic letters, that start to look like breadcrumbs to look for something related to her mother's death. And then, this strange man, and her father is acting different. And the daughter's name is Mackenzie. I keep saying the daughter, but her name is Mackenzie. But Mackenzie is like starting to realize there's something not adding up here. So the letters end up being somewhat of a puzzle, encouraging her to follow, like I said, the breadcrumbs that are being left for her to not only potentially solve what may be her mother's murder, but also to learn who her mother really was, in the sense of she was more than this celebrated author, and where she came from and how she got to where she was. And, it's like one of those things you really never know a person. And that's what happens as Mackenzie goes on this journey to find the truth about what happened to her mother. She also learns a lot about her mother and her father's relationship, because they met in college, right? And I will tell you, this book had a lot of twists and reveals. I want to say there's of course, there's one big jaw-dropping one kind of at the end, but there's also a couple as you go along where you're like, what? Not only do I like, mystery, suspense type books that obviously have a twist, because that's what you want, a sucker punch, right? But I like when they give us like these kind of, they're minor in the sense it's not, what's coming. Like, what's coming is going to be bigger, but you get these minor twists along the way that you also weren't expecting. So I think that pulls you deeper into the story, making you kind of question, okay, how did I miss that? Okay, well, wait a minute, let me pay attention, or let me go back, and then they hit you with the big one, and you're, sometimes maybe you see it coming with those smaller ones, but I think if done right, you don't see any of them coming, and it just adds to the experience. And as you go on this journey with Mackenzie, you start realizing that nobody is who they seem. Like, I think there was maybe only one person. I'm not going to tell you who it was, but it was only one person in this book that was actually solid. That was who they claimed to be, who the author intended for them to be. And the crazy thing is I was thinking that person was going to be like somebody that betrayed Mackenzie. And they were the only solid person that was, a part of the story. So I'm gonna leave it at that before I say too much. But yeah, and I also really enjoy in stories when the author, we're introduced to people along the way, which it makes sense because, Mackenzie's going on this journey, right? She's uncovering the past. She's learning stuff that she didn't know, and we're learning right along with her. So when the author introduces characters or takes us back in time to something that happened, everything is plausible because the author is introducing us to oh no, this is, Jed, and they went to school together, and he worked at that bar, and this is so-and-so, she was at the place, and, tying up all that stuff so that when you do get to the end and you start to get these twists and you start to, get the big twist, you're not sitting there going, well, wait a minute, how could that have happened? It's all very plausible, and I feel like it was well executed within this story. So what I didn't like I said, I enjoyed the story. I would recommend the story. I was engaged. It gave what it was supposed to give for a suspense thriller book. What I personally didn't like, and this is just like a thing, and I think I overthink elements and things because I am a writer. I overthink things when I'm writing, and I try to think, okay, well, that wouldn't make sense because this, instead of allowing that suspension of belief to just happen, naturally with a fiction book. Although I was pretty surprised, maybe a little shocked by the big twist that happened, I found it hard to believe that it happened. And that it had been going on for as long as it had gone on, if you know what I mean. Okay? So that's the only thing I was like, really? 20 years or more? And this was going on? And like nobody knew. That was the only thing that kind of, tripped me up a little bit. But I liked the way the story ended and what happened after that, because she didn't just like give us a jaw-dropping twist. She also set things in motion for you to actually get closure, and dare I say, a happily ever after in this story. So from that standpoint, I think she more than made up for it. As far as trigger warnings, obviously there's mention of death, and it's the character's mother's death. So if you have lost your mother, or especially if it was recent, it could trigger you and make you feel some kind of way. Although I don't know with the kind of relationship her and Mackenzie had, like if Mackenzie was even grieving that hard. But it should be noted. There is some. I'm not going to tell y'all one of them because that's going to give away the major plot point, but I'll say there was some drugging involved, and then I'm going to leave it at that. It's like with these type of books, suspense, thriller, mystery type books, you already know you're going to have a death. There's going to be foul play. So it's the same typical elements as far as trigger warnings go that you would find in any book in this particular genre. I think that, and I know it's been a while since I've kept with my formula, but the last thing, what you can take away from this fictional book, Love, Mom, and look at that, there's like a blood splatter on the envelope, is that you never really, truly know someone. Okay? And that's all I'm going to say about that, because I think that we oftentimes think that because it's our mother, our father, our child, or our best friend or whoever, that we have some inside knowledge. And while it's true, you may know their favorite things, their pet peeves, their pet that died when they were 3, or maybe some horrible thing that happened to them in their life that they confided in you. But everything about that person, no, it's impossible to know the thoughts and feelings and whether somebody is capable of something. If the situation, depending on the circumstance and the situation, I feel like at any given time, all of us are just like one crash out away from doing something even we never thought we would do. So how could the people who are in our lives and who love us know what we're capable of? So keep that in mind. Anyway, if you haven't read Love, Mom by Iliana Xander, what did you think? And what did you think about that twist? Let me know in the comments. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure that you like this video. And if you have not already subscribed, go ahead and take this opportunity to subscribe to my channel right now and turn on that post notification bell. And please share my content with someone who you think may enjoy it, or who are, if you know somebody who's looking for some book recommendations. Thanks again. You guys enjoy the rest of your weekend, and I will see you next week. Bye.